Very good morning. Students, I hope that you have written very well exam yesterday. And from today, we are going to start the other half content of this chapter, equilibrium. That is nothing but ionic equilibrium. So it is nothing but the study of equilibrium between ions and molecules. So see, equilibrium, some idea regarding equilibrium. Equilibrium means there should be products as well as the reactant. They should be interconverting. Means the rate of forward reaction should be equal to the rate of backward reaction. Then we will be saying that there is equilibrium between the products and reactants. So the equilibrium should be present now among the ions and molecules or ions and ions. So it is nothing but the study of equilibrium between ions and molecules or ions and ions. So let us take some example. So A plus, this is one ion, plus B plus, B minus, one more ion. This entire content is in equilibrium with AB. So this is molecule. So ions are in equilibrium with molecules, or ions A plus into plus X minus in equilibrium with C plus Z minus. So these ions are in equilibrium with this one. So ion equilibrium this one, ion molecule equilibrium this one. So there should be equilibrium between ions. Then we will be saying that ionic equilibrium is present. So if we take example like acetic acid, CH3COOH, what happens? This one gets dissociated into two fragments. One is CH3COO minus plus H plus. Okay, students. And our famous scientist Michael Faraday said that presence of ions in equilibrium, presence of ions in aqueous solution by experiment. He is the Michael Faraday, he is the person who said there is the presence of ions in aqueous solution. How he said? Did he see with any microscope? No, he done by experiments. What experiments he has done? Means by conducting electricity. So if the solution conducts electricity, then that is called as ion conducting solution. If there is no ions, there will be no conductivity in that particular solution. Suppose if I take salt solution, if I add salt to the water, and if I take some two electrodes and I connect so that how much amount of electricity is formed. So there will be passes of electricity if you add salt to the water. Then that type of that is called as electrolyte. If you add sugar to the water, no ions will be produced. There will be no conduction of electricity. Then that is called as non-electrolyte. Again I am repeating. If you add salt to the water, there will be production of ions. One is cation and one is anion. So that there will be the production of electricity. Then that is called as electrolyte. If you add sugar solution to the water, there is no conduction of electricity because there is no presence of ions. So that solution is called as non-electrolyte. So in this chapter we will not deal with non-electrolyte. We want dissociation, right? Dissociation means there should be production of ions. Here there is no ions. So we will not deal regarding non-electrolyte. And we will be dealing only with respect to electrolyte. If you go with respect to electrolyte, see in entire chemistry only three things will be present. One is acid, base and salt. Okay? Acid, base and salt. Now we will be dealing only regarding electrolyte, right? When we go regarding electrolyte, the electrolyte again can be categorized into two categories. One is the strong electrolyte and the other is the weak electrolyte. Okay? Strong electrolyte. What is meant by strong electrolyte? A electrolyte which is strong means there will be no equilibrium. See, simply I will be telling degree of dissociation. You have learned regarding this one in the last chapter, that is called as equilibrium. What is degree of dissociation? Number of molecules dissociated by the total number of molecules whatever we are taking into the reaction. Okay, suppose if I take some 100 molecules, 10 molecules are getting dissociated. 10 by 100 is called as degree of dissociation or fraction. In the same way how you will be gaining marks in your exams. Suppose exam paper will be for 100 marks and you will be getting something like 90. Okay. So what is degree of dissociation means? 90 by alpha. That is what we will be representing, 90 by 100. Suppose if you are targeting for 10 GPA, you will be getting something like 9.8. So 9.8 by 10. Okay. That is called as degree of dissociation. So how many you are getting? Out of how many? So strong electrolyte means the degree of dissociation will be very high. Means if you take 100, the 100 molecules will be getting dissociated. Approximately very near. Suppose 98 molecules getting dissociated. Means it is very close to your 1. So what does that indicate? That indicates that there will be no equilibrium. So all are getting converted into product. Then product will not get converted into reactant. How you can say there is equilibrium? you can't say there is equilibrium. So strong electrolyte where the degree of dissociation will be very high, there will be no equilibrium, and that is unidirectional, means only reactant is getting converted into product. That is a major concern. 99.99% only product will be formed. There will be no formation of the reactant again. Okay, so that type of electrolyte which is going in a unidirectional, which is there is knowing having no equilibrium, which is having alpha value very close to the 1, then that is called as strong electrolyte. In the same way, if the electrolyte is having equilibrium and the degree of dissociation is very less, means approximately 5%, that is maybe 0.05. Okay, 5 out of 100, 5 by 100, that is, so 0.05% in terms of percentage if you talk, that is 0.05. So whenever the value is very less, that is less than or equal to 5%, means the degree of dissociation is less than or equal to 5%, then there is a chance of existing equilibrium in the solution. Then that type of electrolyte, it is called as weak electrolyte. Okay, so if you take example for strong electrolyte, strong acids are strong acids, strong bases and strong salts. We will be talking. First we shall go for strong acid and strong base. HCl, H2SO4, HNO3, HClO3, this is called as perchlorate. Strong bases if we talk, NaOH, KOH, CaOH taken twice, MgOH taken twice. If we add these to the water or any solvent, what happens? This gets completely dissociated. Suppose if you take 100 HCl and dissolve in water, you will be getting 100 H pluses. Means the degree of dissociation is completed. So there is no equilibrium. So we will not deal regarding strong electrolytes also. And we will be dealing only with respect to weak electrolytes. Weak means you are taking many but only some are getting dissociated. Weak acids examples, CH3COOH, formic acid, hydrogen sulfide, hydrogen cyanide, benzoic acid. If we go for weak bases, NH4OH, this is NHCH3 taken twice, this is amines, dimethylamine, this is triethylamine, and going for pyridine. Pyridine structure will be like this, C6, like this it will be. So these are all weak electrolytes. Generally organic acids are all weak acids. See, when there is presence of ions means it is electrolyte. If there is no presence of ions means non-electrolyte. So among electrolyte and non-electrolyte we will be dealing only with electrolytes. In electrolytes again two types are there. One is strong electrolyte, one is weak electrolyte. And strong electrolyte also there is no equilibrium. So there is no use of strong electrolyte in this chapter because we are talking with ionic equilibrium, right? This one. There will be no equilibrium if it is a strong electrolyte. So what we will be doing? We will be dealing only with respect to weak electrolytes. In this chapter we will be dealing only with respect to weak electrolytes because that is only having capacity to form equilibrium. Right? And if you go for the salt, we have something learned regarding strong acid, strong base. Now strong salt. If any one component of the salt is formed from strong acid or strong base, then it is called a strong salt. Suppose let me take NaCl. NaCl means it should be formed from NaOH plus HCl. Okay. See, this should be formed from NaOH plus HCl. See, then you will be getting plus this one minus, so you will be getting NaCl. So NaOH is strong base, HCl is strong acid. So this NaCl, it is formed from strong acid as well as strong base. This is strong acid, strong base. So this salt is strong. Okay, suppose if you go for NH4Cl, so you will be getting NH4OH plus HCl. Here acid is strong but base is weak. If any one, either it may be acid or it may be base. If one is strong, then it becomes a strong salt. Okay, here which is strong in this? In this HCl is strong, so it has become strong salt. Suppose if you go for this one, here base is strong. Suppose this is forming from NaOH plus H2CO3. This is called as carbonic acid. This is weak acid. Weak acid and strong base. So it is forming Na2CO3. Right? So this is a strong one because one is strong. If two are strong, automatically it is strong salt. If only one is strong, then also it is strong. Then when you should get a weak salt? If both the component of the salt, that is either both the cation, that is both cation and anion are weak, then only it is a weak salt. Suppose if you go for the example like NH4Cl, from where it is formed? It is formed from NH4OH, this is weak base, plus HCN, weak acid. So weak base plus weak acid, it forms weak salt. Okay. Already I have said that in generally all the organic acids are weak acids, and this is the general categorization. Okay, so we will be dealing only with respect to the weak electrolytes, and this has been categorized by Mr. Michael Faraday. Okay, approximately 2200 years back. Right, let us go for another thing. Now, what is meant by acid, base, or salt? So only we will be dealing regarding these things, right? In chemistry also, 99% is only this one. So classification of the acid, base as well as salt. This has been classified by many persons like Arrhenius, Bronsted Lowry, and Lewis. These are the major things. So according to Arrhenius, let us go for the first classification. Arrhenius classified this acid and bases into these types. According to Arrhenius, if any substance liberates H plus whenever that is added to the water or aqueous solution, then this is called as Arrhenius acid. Again I am repeating, if any substance which liberates H plus ions whenever it is added to the aqueous solution, it is called as Arrhenius acid. Suppose this is a X substance, I am adding this one to the aqueous solution, so it is producing H plus ions, then this is called as acid. Something I am taking X substance, this X substance is added to water, if it is liberating only H plus, please remember only H plus, along with the H plus if you are having any other cation, okay, I will tell regarding that, then that is called as salt. So a substance is taken, it is added to the aqueous solution, then it is liberating only H plus, then this substance is called as acid. Okay, now you are taking a substance, you are adding to the aqueous solution, it liberates H plus along with any cation, it liberates other cations also, then if any cation is liberated along with H plus, then this substance is called as salt. Suppose if you take example, this is HCl plus H2O, you are getting what? See, acid means you are adding this one so that it is getting H3O plus, means H plus has come out and Cl minus is formed. Okay, from HCl Cl minus is formed, H3O plus is present, right? So what does it getting? H plus, HCl is giving H plus for this, so what has taken that? Okay, so HCl is called as acid because it is liberating H plus. Only H plus is present here. Water is generally automatically present here. Okay, suppose if you go for here NaHCO3, it liberates Na plus plus H plus plus CO3 minus 2. So you are getting H plus, along with H plus you are getting one more Na plus, one more cation. Means this substance is a salt, it is not acid. Okay, along with H plus if you are getting one more cation, it is a salt. If you are getting only H plus, then that is an acid. Okay, right? Then what is base? Okay, if any substance liberates OH minus ions when added to the aqueous solution, then that is called as Arrhenius base. I hope that you are getting. If any substance liberates OH minus ions when added to the aqueous solution, then that is called as Arrhenius base. If along with OH minus if you are getting any one more anion, then that is called as salt. So whatever we have talked with respect to both things, that is with respect to acids, the same with respect to bases, but OH minus. So base, a substance is added to water, it is liberating only OH minus ions, then that is called as base. Example is NaOH plus H2O. So you are getting Na plus plus OH minus. So you are getting only OH minus here. You are not having any anion here. So then NaOH is called as base. Suppose any substance you are adding to the water, it liberates OH minus ions plus any anion, then that is called as salt. Okay. Suppose example is CuOH Cl forming Cu plus 2 plus OH minus plus Cl minus. So along with OH minus you are having Cl minus also, right? So you are having two anions. So it is not a base, it is a salt. And here you see NH4OH, it is in equilibrium with NH4 plus OH minus. So it is a base only. But I have represented here with equilibrium. Why I am representing with equilibrium? Because this is a weak base. This one is strong. I am representing only with single line. This is also strong. I am representing with single line. But this one is weak. Whenever there is weak one, what happens? It comes into the equilibrium. So you please observe the arrows also. Right. If you go for the bases, examples are NaOH, MgOH taken place, KOH, NH4OH, CaOH. There are so many. Generally we can say all the hydroxides of first A and second A group are bases. Generally strong bases we can say. So what are the limitations for the Arrhenius theory? This theory is applicable only for the aqueous solution. If I say there is no aqueous solution, there is no water, then you can't say whether that this substance, you are taking this substance, something X, there is no water, and you can't say whether it is a base or acid. If only water is present, then if it liberates something, then only we can say it is acid or base. Okay, so this is applicable only for the aqueous solution. If aqueous solution is absent, it can't say. And metal oxides, generally calcium oxide, magnesium oxide, Na2O, these are generally bases. But Arrhenius could not say this doesn't contain any H plus or OH minus, right? So he did not predict whether these are acids or bases. He could not explain that. Acids and bases are only in aqueous phase. Whatever he explained only in the aqueous phase. He did not consider a base can be in a gas phase also. But we are having many gases, many bases which are in gaseous phase. Example, if you see ammonia like that. So these are the limitations. Means he could not explain the terms without aqueous solution. He thought only all the acids and bases are present in the aqueous phase only. There is no gas phase. And one more thing is metal oxides he did not categorize whether they are acids or bases. He could not, this theory could not explain. So extending to this theory, we have got one more theory that is called as Bronsted-Lowry concept. So what does this theory say? This theory says any substance which accepts H plus, which donates H plus, which is H plus donor or which donates H plus, then that is called as Bronsted-Lowry acid. And base, any substance which is accepting H plus, then that is called as what? Bronsted-Lowry base. See, according to Arrhenius, H plus donor same, but base according to Arrhenius it is OH minus donor, but here it is H plus acceptor. If it is H plus acceptor, then that is called as Bronsted-Lowry base. Suppose example, if I take HCl plus H2O, what happened? It has been converted to H3O plus plus Cl minus. See, HCl has been converted to Cl minus. Means what is that indicating? HCl has donated one H plus. So H3O has been converted to H3O plus. Means H2O is accepting one H plus. So if it is accepting one H plus, means this one is acting as a base. So H plus acceptor is a base. So H2O is accepting one H plus from HCl. It is getting converted to H3O plus. So H2O is a base and HCl is getting converted to Cl minus by donating H plus. So HCl is an acid. So HCl becomes acid by proton donor. H2O becomes base by accepting proton. And if we take one more example like ammonia reacts with water, it is getting converted into NH4 plus plus OH minus. So ammonia getting converted into NH4 plus means what it has happened? See, it has accepted proton and it has got converted into NH4 plus, right? So this is what? This is base. And H2O by giving proton, it has been converted to OH minus. So H2O is acting as an acid. In this case, NH3 is acting as a base, H2O is acting as a acid. See, if you see these two examples, okay, here H2O is acting as base, here H2O is acting as acid. Here base means it has accepted H plus, here base means it has, here acid means it has given H plus. Now what you can say, this one H2O. H2O in front of HCl it behaves as base, in front of NH3 it behaves as acid. Means it's a whatever the acidic nature he is telling, it is a relative term. Whichever fastly donates H plus, then that is called as acid, and the remaining one it is called as base. So that's what Mr. Bronsted-Lowry wanted to explain with respect to the acidic nature as well as basic nature. See, he said acid or base is a relative term. Means the one which donates easily H plus compared to the other is called as an acid, and which one accepts it is called as base. Suppose if I go for the base, acids you can easily classify. There will be H donate is called as bases. Suppose bases, negatively charged species, something like Cl minus, S minus 2, S minus, O minus 2, SO4 minus 2. There are many HSO4. So what happens? This one will accept. So if this accepts H plus, what becomes? It becomes HCl. This becomes H2S. This becomes HS, right? This becomes H2O. This becomes H2SO4. This one H2SO4, H2CO3, H2CO3, H3PO4, H3PO4 as well as H3PO4. These can be converted, right? See, negatively charged species, they will behave as bases, Bronsted-Lowry bases, and there are some neutral species also. So this doesn't have any charge, plus or minus. Then this is also acting as Bronsted-Lowry base. In the same way, ROH, alcohol. This one also is having what happens? This one also will accept H plus. This one also will accept H plus. This accepts H plus and becomes NH4 plus, and the bottom one will become H plus will be on the oxygen. So we can say that the substance which shows both acidic and basic character. So we have seen water. Water, it is showing both acidic character as well as basic character. In presence of HCl, it is behaving as base. In presence of NH3, it is acting as acid. So the substance which behaves as both acid and base character, or which shows both acid and base character, then that type of substance is called as amphoteric substance. So students, we will be stopping this video up to here and we will be continuing in the other video.